Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about the first book in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Fellowship of the Ring. And before I get into my review, I want to mention that Tolkien had not planned this story as a trilogy, but instead as either one big book or as 6 small books. And whilst reading The Fellowship, I could really tell the difference between book 1 and book 2, and I felt very different about these 2 books, and I still feel the same way, and my enjoyment and what I took from them is also completely different. So it's not possible for me to give you my feelings and perspectives on The Fellowship in one overarching swoop. So instead I'm going to review the 2 books that are in The Fellowship of the Ring separately. I also want to mention that The Hobbit is one of my all-time favorite books, and I read The Lord of the Rings 15 years ago, so I do know the universe and I also absolutely love the films. So just so you know where I'm coming from with my review of this book. The plot of book number 1 is pretty straightforward. We have our main character, the Hobbit Frodo, who receives a magical ring from his uncle Bilbo. And shortly after receiving this ring, Frodo is told by the wizard Gandalf that the ring used to belong to the mighty Lord Sauron, who used to control Middle-earth, but was vanquished hundreds of thousands of years ago. And since then he's slowly becoming stronger and stronger, and he's now reached to the point that he is looking for his ring. And Sauron knows that Bilbo used to have the ring, and he also knows that it's in the place where Frodo lives, the Shire. This is why Gandalf wants Frodo to leave the Shire and bring the ring to safety to Rivendell. This is what Frodo does, and he takes his friends Merry, Pippin and his servant Sam with him. When you hear this plot of its premise, you would expect The Fellowship of the Ring, or book number 1, to be an adventure book. But it most definitely is not. The first 60 pages of book number 1, which is around 220 pages long, only takes part in the Shire, and we get to know the hobbits, we get to know what for a lovely place the Shire is, we get this wonderful, peaceful introduction to Middle-earth. And we do get the history of the ring and who Sauron is, but apart from that, there's nothing going on. And this is 60 pages, so that's the first third of a book. And when the hobbits then finally make their way to Rivendell, the pace doesn't pick up. So it feels more like they're on a walk to Rivendell, and not that they're transporting this very, very powerful artifact that they have to protect. The pace is further brought down by the interactions they have on their way to Rivendell. So for example, they meet this character called Tom, and they spend around 30 pages with him, and he adds absolutely nothing to the plot. You could take these 30 pages out, destroy them, and I think the book would actually get better, because he is so annoying, and as I said, he adds absolutely nothing. And I already tried to reread Lord of the Rings once, and I actually had to DNF it because I hated Tom so much, and because there was just no sense to his character. And Tolkien does it again and again, that he gets sidetracked by things that are just not important to the story. This is also the reason why this book is not suspenseful. So as I said, we have this quest, and in 2 or 3 places there are situations which could be very enthralling and exciting, but instead Tolkien just takes the situation and blows over them completely, and instead talks about the history of Middle-earth or about some side characters that might be important in other books, but have absolutely nothing to do with this time or with this ring. And so, for example, we have this one scene where Frodo is gravely injured, and it's kind of unsure whether he's going to die, and at that point the group has been joined by Aragorn, who is leading them through the wilderness, and Aragorn goes and gets some medicine, well, this magical plant that will heal Frodo, And instead of talking about this scary situation, Tolkien decides to give the history of the plant and who brought it to Middle-earth and what its powers are. So this might be absolute fun for hardcore Tolkien fans who are rereading the books or trying to find parallels between the books. But for a normal reader who's just looking for an adventure plot and who is encountering Middle-earth for the first time, it's just absolutely too much. And I think the reason why this happens is because Tolkien loves Middle-earth so much. And you really have to respect him in that regard. He created a magical world that he knows the history of for thousands and thousands of years. He has an own language for the elves with its own grammar and vocabulary. And he really loves his world. But in this case, he's trying to cram in as much history and random characters as possible, because I guess he just wants to show what he created. But the plot or the storyline really suffer due to this. It's just too much. And I think this is why I love the film so much, because Peter Jackson took book number 1 and he took all the important things out of it, scrapped the rest, and really reduced it to its core. And he just did a perfect job, because seriously, you could have shortened this book so much and it would still have been a great book. I struggled with book number 1. I did still enjoy the beginning with getting to know the Shire for about 30 or 40 pages. At that point I was sick of it, and then when we started into the journey and the suspense just went downhill completely and they were getting to know all these random people that I really could not stand, I was really short of DNFing this book. The only reason why I didn't was because I just wanted to love this book so much. I'm so glad I didn't DNF this book, because once we got to book number 2 in the Fellowship of the Ring, everything turned around for the better. But I'm going to talk about that in my next video, so look forward to that. Otherwise, I want to say thank you for watching my video. I know that Lord of the Rings brings out a lot of emotions with the people that have read it, so if you want to add something to book 1, please do so down in the comments. I'm glad I pushed through it so far, and please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next week. Bye.